BNC, 100% black and brown host around the clock. Finally, news that speaks to us.
Now to news on WNBA star Brittney Griner. Griner was detained in Russia on February 17th after customs agents say they found liquid cannabis in her carry-on bag. Very few details have been released about her arrest, including where Griner is being held. U.S. lawmakers are pushing for her release, with Representative Colin Allred expressing concern for Griner's welfare and is working with the State Department to secure her release. Here to discuss is immediate past president of the National Bar Association, C.K. Hoffler. C.K., you're the perfect person to help us sort of unpack all of this because you specialized in international law. And so help us understand how this all should be unfolding, even outside of what's going on between Russia and Ukraine. I understand that you even had the chance to travel to Moscow back when it was the Soviet Union in the early 80s. So based on your years of experience dealing with situations like these, or like this, what are your thoughts on what's happening to Brittney right now?
Well, good evening. My thoughts are that Brittney has an uphill battle, unfortunately. And I say that because when I traveled to the Soviet Union in 1982, that's when I traveled, that was really amidst the Cold War. And at that time, there were a number of Black students, Black professionals in the Soviet Union from different African countries. So it was not that this is a first impression, having Black people in the Soviet Union. And so the same types of discrimination that we experience here, we experience there. But in terms of the legal systems, now we've got Russia, we have the breakup of the Soviet Union, we've got Russia. But what's most important and what gives me the greatest concern is the politics surrounding the relationship between the US and Russia because of the war in the Ukraine. My concern is that Brittney is caught in the middle of that, and her case will be political. Now, Russian law, as we know it now, there have been some modifications to the criminal justice code there, and there's a lot of vagueness because our systems are so dramatically different. And there are Americans who have been, they believe, wrongly prosecuted in Russia recently. But here you have just a young woman who's being detained. They're claiming that she's engaged in criminal activities involving drugs. And there's another dynamic here that people don't talk about. There is a law in Russia, there's legislation that has been passed that is not friendly to the LGBTQ community. And she is openly gay and she's married. That's another factor that we need to consider in terms of the whole political dynamics. So you've got an American citizen accused of criminal activity that's going to go through the criminal justice system, which is very vague. You have us engaged in a war ostensibly with Russia, because that's how I see this conflict in the Ukraine. And then you have an openly gay woman in Russia who on off season plays with one of the Russian teams. So there are a myriad of issues that are impacting Brittney Griner that concern me profoundly for her safety, for her security, and a sense of justice. The diplomatic relations that would have existed previously, where you have embassy officials that would visit inmates that are advocates along, she's got counsel, she's got Russian counsel. All of that has a cloud over it because of this conflict in the Ukraine. So I'm very, very concerned, Yodit, about her welfare.
The timing couldn't be worse, right? Listen, we don't have a whole lot of details in Brittney's case, but we don't know things like where she's being detained, let alone the conditions that she's being held in. Do you have any insight into the Russian legal system and what Brittney is up against right now? I mean, you said that she does have local counsel, but she does have counsel here in America, and how do the two work together?
Well, typically she does have local counsel. It's always important to have your own counsel in the United States because remember, this is a diplomatic issue as well. But she's being charged under Russian law. And the way their system works, which is different, they've got a prosecutor like we have. They have a defense attorney like we have. And then they have an investigator. It's more of an inquisition style system, which is very, very foreign to us here in the United States. Here, we lay evidence. We have a jury. It's very, very different there. The inquisitor, the person who does the investigation, the inquisition, is the person who decides what is and what isn't. So it's very political, it can be very subjective, and it can be very, very difficult for her. But I do believe at the end of the day, there's probably going to be a political solution that's wrapped up in the conflict in Ukraine. That's what I believe. The Congressional Black Caucus, as you know, has taken a position on this. There are many Congress people that are taking a position on this, and there are many communities that are rallying to support and stand in solidarity with her. But I just wanted everyone to know there are a lot of issues. LGBTQ and legislation in Russia that is very unfavorable and outlaws certain things. Criminal justice system, the accusations of cannabis oil and vape, things like that are not permissible, and we don't know, that could have been planted on her. And also the fact that she's an American citizen and she's African American, and we have the Biden administration that is in conflict with, let's just face it, the Russian president.
Right.
We have a conflict in Ukraine, and she's African American, and there are many that perceive that African Americans have a very significant role in this administration with Biden. So there are a whole bunch of issues. We need to pray for her, and we need to push in solidarity for her release. I believe she'll be released as part of a political solution, because I'm not quite sure of the gravity or the severity or the legitimacy of the criminal charges.
Well, you mentioned the Congressional Black Caucus. Like you said, members of the CBC were calling publicly on Russia to let her go. But at the same time, they're also being advised by the State Department to share as little information about her case as possible. Here's Congressman Sheila Jackson. Take a listen.
We love Brittney. We love her throughout the nation. And the fight is on. And you can be assured the Congressional Black Caucus, in our meeting with the president last Monday, raised it. I gave him a letter on her behalf asking for his engagement. And I can tell you, he was attentive, responsive, and I believe that we're going to not leave behind her needs, her safety, her security. I do want to protect the family, but I do want you to know that we've got she's an Olympian, she can dunk the balls, we've got our boxing gloves on, because we are not going to leave her without any ammunition. I just want to conclude because she's a woman, I just want to conclude by saying I want to thank the Congressional Black Caucus for its help and work on the Violence Against Women Act, which I introduced, which is now law, which covers a lot of the issues that we've been talking about with respect to women and the criminal justice system, and in fact, even Brittney and her circumstances. So thank you very much.
CK, is Congress doing enough to try and get Brittney back, or are their hands tied because of the delicate situation between the U.S. and Russia over Ukraine?
I'm going to read between the lines. I think that Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus, is doing everything in its power, but I think it's also respecting the rule of law. Because the one thing that we know, there's so much that's out of our control, and they don't want to make the situation worse. And so they're working through diplomatic channels. We have to remember that it was Vice President Kamala Harris who was in Ukraine addressing issues. I don't think that that's what we heard publicly. There are always private discussions. I pray that part of the political solution will be to ensure that there's justice surrounding this young woman who may be falsely detained. It just was brought to mind that I, along with Reverend Jackson, have helped the release of an American citizen, an anthropologist, who was detained, a woman, in the Algerian prisons some time ago. This whole process, the diplomatic solution, and there were allegations that she was engaged in a whole bunch of things which were not, didn't bear out, but the process, the diplomacy that has to take place, the interventions are very significant, and a lot of, they don't need to be borne out in the public domain, because that could compromise the interests of the family and of the individual who's incarcerated. And we have to remember, women incarcerated in different countries may face different consequences, particularly in countries where we are hostile, where there's hostility between that country and the United States, which is the case now in Russia.
Attorney C.K. Hoffler, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time and brilliance and for sharing that with us tonight. Thank you.